Hello, my name is Kya Yin, and I'm a food law advisor in the International Regulatory Affairs team. I'm responsible for Australian, New Zealand, and South African market. Today, I would like to introduce the regulatory system in Australia, and this could help you to navigate to the correct authority when you import product to Australia. The regulatory system in Australia is a joint food regulation system. Because it is established with New Zealand, the system is made up of the following policy and agreement. The joint food regulation system is overseen by the Forum. The Forum is responsible for developing domestic food regulation policy in the form of policy guidelines. And the Food Standard Australia New Zealand is a statutory authority operating under the Food Standard Australia New Zealand Act 1991. This authority is responsible for developing and amending a food standard code. And there is a joint food standard treaty between Australia and New Zealand. Under this treaty, Australia and New Zealand share the food standards for labelling and end product standard. Even though the Australia and New Zealand have a joint food regulation system, but these two countries have their own law for the production and processing of food. And under the Trans-Tasman Mutual Regulation Arrangement, goods that can be legally sold in Australia can be sold in New Zealand. This means that goods that comply with either Australian or New Zealand regulation can be sold in both countries. This arrangement promotes closer economic relations with Australia and New Zealand since they are the most important economic partner to each other, and the agreement overrides any laws regulating the manufacturing of or sales of goods except endangered species, firearms and hazardous substance and fireworks, etc. The Food Regulation Agreement is an intergovernmental document signed by all Australian governments. And under this agreement, all Australian state and territories government agents are responsible for implementing, monitoring, and enforcing food regulation through the individual food acts and other food-related legislation. Each state and territory have its food acts, and they ensure they adopt or incorporate as food standard enforced under the food legislation of the state or territory. Thereby, the state and territory governments have enforcement jurisdiction. These are the key authorities that are responsible for food compliance in Australia. As mentioned earlier, Food Standard Australia New Zealand develops food standard, so all food to be sold in Australia must comply with their standard. And Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment is responsible for biosecurity importing and exporting products. The Australian Pesticide and Veterinary Medicine Authority registered and approved alphabet chemical for use in Australia, and we proposed the maximum residual level variation in the coal based on its assessment of application for the use of chemicals. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is a competition regulator in Australia. It is a regulatory commission of the Australian government. Its mandate is to protect consumer rights and business rights and application, to perform industry regulation and price monitoring, and to prevent illegal anti-competitive behavior. The National Measurement Institute is a division of the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resource. It is responsible for developing and maintaining Australian measurement system and delivering measurement product and client service to a wide cross-section of stakeholders, including government, industry, and science and technology partner. The last one is the Department of Health Therapeutic Goods Administration. It is regulated therapeutic goods such as medicine, medical device, and dietary supplement. As mentioned, the FSANS develops standards that regulates the use of industry, ingredient, processing aids, coloring, additive, vitamins, and mineral. And the Food Standard Code also covers the composition of some food, such as dairy, meat, and beverages, as well as the food developed by the new technology, such as the genetic modified food. They are also responsible for labeling requirements for packaged and unpackaged food, for example, specific Mandarin warning or advisory label. The SANS also developed the Australian-only primary production and processing standards and maximum residual level for contaminants. In addition, the authority coordinates the food recall. They work closely with state agents to organize the recall. And here is a link for visiting the Food Standard Code. The role of the Department of Agriculture, Water and Environment is to monitor the safety of all import and export food. It is responsible for administering two sets of requirements for import food. These requirements are designed to protect Australians against the biosecurity risk under the Biosecurity Act 2015 and addressing the food safety under the Import Food Control Act 1992. The Imported Food Inspection Scheme for inspection has been developed under the Act. Also, the authority authorized to control the export of the agricultural product under the Export Control Act 2020. The department has launched the Manual of Importing Country Requirements as a tool to help the exporter of Australian agricultural products, and is provided guidance on importing country requirements for meat, dairy, fish, and egg products, etc. And it's a really good tool to look at the point of the entry. The Australian Pesticide and Veterinary Medicine Authority registered the veterinary chemical and proposed the maximum residual level of the agriculture and veterinary chemical in food. When the authority proposed changing to the maximum residual level in Schedule 20 of the Standard Code, it will call for public comment on the proposed changing. The census publishes the maximum residual level changing proposed by the authority on the website. And also, the authority generally prepares one maximum residual level harmonization proposal each year to consider requests to vary the Schedule 20 of the code to harmonize with the international maximum residual level, such as Codex, although established by the regulatory agent in the country from which the food is sourced. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is an independent Commonwealth statutory authority whose role is to enforce the Competition and Consumer Act 2010 and a range of additional legislation promoting competition, fair trading, and regulating national infrastructure for the benefit of all Australians. The authority publishes a range of guidelines for industry under the Competition and Consumer Act 2010. I have listed out some of the guidelines which I found that is really useful for compliance check. The first one is Advertising and Selling 2021. It provides guidance when you want to make marketing claims such as premium, free range, organic, and free. And then the second one is the country of origin of food labeling. It provides the labeling requirement of the country of origin. And now we look at the National Measurement Institute. It's responsible for trade measurement and it is regulated by the National Measurement Act 1960. In general, the measurement mark needs to be on the principal display panel of the packaging. And if there is more than one principal display panel, a measurement marking must be given on at least two of the principal display panels. And it must declare clear to the product name marked to be read in the same direction as any product names, and at least 2 mm from the limits of the pack and separate by a minimum of 2 mm in all directions from other graphic material or copy. Different dimensions of the packaging have different size of the character. And currently, there's two methods for quantity system provision that business can use under the Act. They can use the voluntary choice to either pack according to the average system or the average quantity system. If you choose to use the average quantity system, the EMAG must print it on the principal display panel. And there's a different requirement for these two systems. So please visit the website for more details on how to use these two systems. And the last one is this is the Department of Health Therapeutic Goods Administration. This authority is responsible for therapeutic goods in Australia, which we mentioned earlier. And these products are regulated by the Therapeutic Goods Act in 1989. These goods divided into three categories, which are the medicines, biologicals, and medical device. The authority regulates these goods through the pre-market assessment, post-market monitoring and enforcement of standards, and licensing of the Australian manufacturing. For example, for most vitamins, they fall into the categories of low-risk complementary medicine, which means that the authority regulates the safety and quality only. And the complementary medicine include vitamin, mineral, herbal products. They may be either listed or registered depending on the ingredient and the claim made. And this product, you have to, once you have been either listed or registered, you have to put either the OSR or OSR number on the pack after approval. Also, some sport supplement with therapeutic claims containing high-risk ingredients to be advertised and supplied. They must be included in the Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods. They must also meet the legislative requirement that ensure the safety, quality, and efficacy of the medicine, including advertising. Higher risk ingredients such as those containing substance in a schedule to the poison standard or including in the orders list. However, the sport supplements that contain ingredients appropriate for food and that are presented as a food will be regulated as food. So for example, like the protein powders, nutrition bars, energy drink. In this case, these products are regulated by FSANZ. Additionally, I can also provide the support for the pet food industry as well. In Australia, the Pet Food Industry Association of Australia was established in 1972 to promote the standard in the pet food industry. The standard AS5812 provides labeling requirements for pet food and it covers how additive and preservative will be used in pet food. The standard AS4041 applies to the processing of all animals used in the production of pet meat. And now these are the services we can offer, and please feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.